Hi everybody. So yeah, I'm waiting for my bus again. Okay. Alright, so I decided to do a little story time thing while waiting here, and it's actually pretty funny. It's called my cyberstalker situation. A few years ago, this was about 4 or 5 years ago actually, I had a cyberstalker, and he was on a freaking forum for a convention. Considering he hated this convention and would do anything for another convention just to pretty much bash it and do whatever. So his online screen handle was named Doctor. So I'm sitting there, and of course I'm a Doctor Who fan. I mean, come on, who isn't a Doctor Who fan? So he asks me a very weird question. I said, okay. In the little chat box at the very bottom of my thing. Okay. So I'm like, I'm game. I get on the chat thing and I'm talking, and of course one of the admins is on, and the guy asks if I'm a Doctor Who fan, and I said yes I am. He goes, okay, which Doctor is your favorite? All right, Tom Baker. And he says, who? Tom Baker. This is when the admin starts looking like he was typing in ha 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 ha, like he was laughing. And of course the admin is one of my really good friends, and he's like, this guy is such a dork. So I said, he was the doctor between, and I gave the dates, and the guy's like, Doctor Who didn't exist back then. Doctor Who's brand new. This is, okay, let me get that out of the way. Sorry. This is me slapping my forehead going, what the hell? Okay? What the hell, man? I'm like, I'm a Doctor Who fan, and this guy's old school. I'm old school. Okay. And, of course, the guy openly admits he has Asperger's, which, one of the things, he pretty much says, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm always right, and you're always wrong, because I have this. And I'm like, I know people with Asperger's don't act like that. So I'm sitting there like, really? You're an ass, okay? So I mentally block him out of my mind. And it turns out his roommate was a guy who actually wanted to date me. And I was like, oh God, no. And it turned into a bunch, and somehow he got my email. That was even dumber. So he would email me these insults and blah, and I basically just sort of deleted them and never really responded. So one day on the chat thing, I said, he's like, why haven't you responded to my emails? I sat there going, gee, being insulted constantly by you and being told I am an inferior human being because I don't like what you like seems to give you an option of being an asshat. I'm not gonna give you an answer. Oh, that didn't go well either. He went on to belittle me even further. Then he told me that his roommate had won tickets to Japan. Funny, I entered a contest about 6 months ago, and for a chance to win a screening of Rurouni Kenshin, which I had mentioned on the board and sent the link to. And they had already announced the winner, and the winner was out of California. So unless this guy was magically in California, this was not. No. Yeah, that contest was actually set up by the IGA Festival for the roadshow. Decides to say, the person that won in California, I congratulate you guys. You were an awesome person. So I'm sitting there totally, like, not even listening to him, and he's belittling, and finally the admin steps in and he chews the guy out and puts him on a ban. The admin was about to ban me, and then I was like, I don't even respond to this guy. So we went back to our chat in the room, and we were discussing the panels. Well, a week later, after this ban was lifted, we were still discussing a panel issue that I was having regarding my laptop not being able to connect to one of the screens last year, and that the year before. He basically said, well, maybe your computer is just as inferior as you are. And I'm like, I'm outright ignoring him. No, I don't give him a response. And he goes on and on and on about this whole trip to Japan. And I was like, oh, that's nice. That was the only response he got out of me. That was nice. And then the panel director was in the message group too, and he was talking to me about the problem they were having last year or the year before over this, that, and the other. Doctor just would not stop haranguing on everybody, comparing our convention to the convention that he goes to every year. And I was like, And then the topic went on to used books. And this is where Doctor got weird. I mentioned that I buy my used books at a used bookstore in town that's local. And I'm not going to give the name of the store because, So the guy starts going off and off about how buying used is bootlegging. And because he has Asperger's, he is always right and everybody's always wrong. Finally, I had a friend of mine with Asperger's sitting there reading this, and I was watching her crack up. I mean, she was literally laughing her butt off, and we were just sitting there I was like, just ignore him. And she's like, I can't. This is just funny. He is a total douche. And I was like, it is what it is. So I'm just talking with the admins, and finally, the guy emails me again. This time, asking why I even bother showing up to conventions at all when everybody hates my guts. Because he claimed he knew everything about what happened to me in 2009 when I evicted a guy who was supposedly popular. And that I was a terrible person, that I was an awful human being, and pretty much trying to destroy my self-esteem. And pretty much he almost won until my fiance read the whole email and deleted it. Finally, instead of deleting a couple of his insulting emails, I sent it to the freaking forum admin. This pissed the admin off to no end. And instead of quietly doing what I suggested, we give him the cold shoulder until he decides to figure it out that we don't want him here. He outright bans him. Bans him from the convention. Bans him from, the ban hammer went down. Down on him like, but that didn't stop Doctor at all. He emailed me saying, how dare you get me banned? I have a disability. And I'm a furry. I can get you in trouble. And finally, I decided to let the shit hit the fan, and I told him, I'm a furry too. And by the way, have fun. Because I had forwarded all the insulting messages to one of my friends in the fur fandom. And she forwarded it to every other fur in her message group. And it basically went around in a circle until Doctor was told to back the hell off, or he would never be seen in any convention whatsoever. It finally got back to that convention that he supposedly is friends with, and even they found his actions to be disparaging, and he got banned from that convention too. So it goes to show that was an actually funny story of how I got handled a cyberbully who was also a cyberstalker at the same time. Listen here, folks. If you're going to get cyberstalked, make sure the person is actually not an idiot. Because I ended up with a massive migraine after this. Because honestly, using his roommate against me was even weirder. Because I refused to date this guy. Because when I found out how much of a creep he was, I was like, ew. And plus I had my fiance who was like the most awesome guy around. So, lessons here. And that's my story of how Nagi Naioa 101 handled a cyberbully.